Hello there, my name's Mark. This is going to be a very quick intro. Today I'm playing the Ogres and we're doing the Invade mission, which means we get victory points for having unit strength in the other opponent's side of the board over the halfway line at the end of the game, which is going to be turn 6 or turn 7, depending on how the dice roll. Today I'm playing the Ogres. It could have been the Dwarves, the Goblins, or Ogres, so on a group of, I think we've got 6 newbie players all playing in 10 mil in my area, which is really cool. Probably quite unique, I guess. I don't know what it's like in your area. Are you interested in playing it in 10 mil? Anyway, that's what this is. So we're playing Invade. It's my High Elves versus Ogres. I'm going to talk about some lists very quickly. You're going to see us doing a little bit of deployment. My opponent does have a Shrine Gem, but he rolled poorly, so I only deployed 2 units at the start. And yeah, I'm probably being a bit cagey, because I've not played Ogres before. But let's get over to the list very briefly. I've got his list. I talked briefly through it. I've got my list, and then it's the hyperlapse, which I've slowed down, given a better commentary than last time, based on your comments below from in the last video. And then there's probably just a slideshow of individual screenshots and points to battle at the end, and we'll do an end chat as well. So yes, see you on the other side. Mark's Dice Sales. Goodbye. Okay, let's start. Let's go over the Ogre list. Now on the screen there should be the Ogre list. Now I've not doubled up units if you've bought 2, and I've also missed out the Red Goblin Rabble, which I had 2 of. Large infantry, so a lot of Ogres have crushing strength. I think they've got some sort of nerve bonus as well. Large infantry shield breakers, berserker braves, boomer chariots, a boomer sergeants, 2 of those, 2 ogre standard bearers, and then the formation Hell on Wheels. The main things to look out for are his boomer chariot regiment has an aura of stealthy with a sacred horn, which increases its stealthy range. And there are actually no chariots in the list. Everything just looks like it's on big beasts, so it's sort of hard to tell things apart a little bit, but it's the first time out, just experiencing Ogres myself. My list was a bit of a pick everything kind of list. I had 1 horde of Imperial Guard with measured force, 1 regiment of Imperial Guard with double-handed weapons for crushing strength, 1 infantry troop for archer troop for chaff. Get my words out. 2 units of Sea Guard who can shoot. I find them useful. I like them. 1 regiment of the Hunters of the Wild, which are the Blade Dancers. 2 Silver Breeze Cavalry. I had those as a regiment before. I've split them into 2 troops this time. 1 Cavalry Regiment of Quicksilver Lancers. I'd never not take those. They are brilliant. I've given those a brew of strength. Though I'm now thinking I might pass it over to the Palace Guard, to be honest. And let's see what else we've got. A Bolt Thrower, a Wizard with Heal and Lightning, and Argus Rognar, played by Aslan the Lion, as pictured here. So I've deployed very much on the left-hand flank. I've just got a feeling, because his chariots, he'll have Thunderous Charge, so I want to be playing in that wooded terrain area, which we've got. And this was a 2d6 map that we generated, so it's supposed to be fair and tournament friendly. Now I do wish I placed my Hunters of the Wild a bit more into the forest. I sort of just aligned them with the terrain, which is sort of, I don't know, OCD, sort of align it, and when it should have really been off to the side, so it could have dashed into the forest on its first scout turn. I did forget my first scout. He did kindly let me play my scouts. I also forget my first charge. He does kindly let me go back and play my first charge. So I'm going to try and put on what his units are. His bottom units in the trees are his siege breakers. So they'll have defense 6. Is that only when they hit from the front, though? I'll have to double check that rule. Then he's got his chariots in the aura with his warlord and his boomer chariots. And then he's like weaker units from up to the north, just past that castle on the picture. He's got 2 rabble units, the berserker units, and I think just the warrior horde. And I get a bit indecisive with my dragons. I put them all down on the bottom flank, hoping that I could sort of sweep past the trees and then come in behind. We'll see how that goes. I also had 1 which I think should have really gone off and backed up. the Quicksilver Cavalry on the north. I think that top flank, the right flank, just needed a bolster. I think you can sort of make out what everything else is other than that. So Horde of Palace Guard, Quick Breeze Cavalry on the hill, because I kind of want to pull off a thunderous charge coming off that. I think that's the benefit of hills. You get thunderous charge if you come down them. And he's being very cagey. He didn't want to be in any charge ranges on the first turn, so that's why you can see the measuring sticks out there. And I'm quite cagey, because I don't know what the Ogres are going to do to me. So I put on arrows to see what's shooting. I think it's probably 4 shooters and 3 arrows, but either way. Silver Breeze shooting into shields, so I don't think I do much. I don't think we do much in the shooting. I think he takes out one of my Hunts of the Wilds, knocks a nerve down 1. And I think I take out 2 or 3 of his Ogres. It counts as 2, obviously. Or still counts as 1. As the saying goes. Lots of pointing and fingering. Now, looking at my deployment, I wish I'd placed my Horde in front of my regiments. I think the Horde has the defense 5. It needs to be the anvil, and the regiment needs to be sort of finding a gap wherever the Horde lands, to be the hammer. So I've really got, I kind of guess I played them as chaff, and my Hunts of the Wild a bit chaffy. It didn't go as quite like when I played this before. Well, by the way, we're playing Invade. I'm sure I mentioned that in the pre-video. So we want to get onto the side of the board. When I played Invade before, I had Forest Shamblers and they rushed forward and they really locked the dwarves in their quarter, so they couldn't come out and start exploring the map. And so many later turns, here he's come out the gate quite fast, and I really get locked on my side of the board as the game goes on. So his Berserkers have charged my Silver Breeze Cavalry on the top, just behind the dice tower, and he wipes them out. Now I think there's a mistake here. I think he gives them Thunderous Charge. So I think if they stayed in the game, I maybe would have wiped them out with my counter charge of my Quicksilver Cavalry. But then I don't know how I would have fared with having Rabble probably going into my flank. Though I'm assuming with the Silver Breeze and the Quicksilver both on the Berserkers, I could have taken them out. But he took out my Silver Breeze and then turns around, so I decide not to charge his Berserkers and instead go off on a cavalry charge deeper into his ranks. You'll see that in just a moment. I think his boomers are behind his units, so don't have many targets. There you go, there's my Quicksilver Cavalry charge. And they decimate that unit. They literally wipe it out. The best charge I've seen from them. My Sea Guard get a bit ropey. They have a quick. Can we scramble away and join the middle fray, which would be nice, or do we have to face these Berserkers? And they have to face the Berserkers, otherwise they'll get berserked in the back. Now my colleague's doing laser lines, saying this is a geometry bit. Can my Dragon Lord flank those shield breakers? We decide he can't. It'd have to be a front charge, and I've got too many units that can front charge it already, so I decide to go behind him because I can fly, and into the flank of his Ogre Shield Standard Bearer. Now, Ogres Standard Bearers do have flanks, whereas I think most Standard Bearers are individuals, but Ogres are not, I think. Just looking over the rules here. They're nimble, but they're not individual, yeah. And then my Dragons and my Crushing Strength. So at least I've got 2 Crushing Strength units going into his Shield Breakers. And now in a bit shenanigans here. Is he flanking me? I think we let him. And again, I think my chaff archers should have sort of moved up into the forest to stop that flank charge he's about to do. And then another one that I fail at here is my sea guard on the rough terrain right in the middle in front of the lion. They should have gone forward full march and blocks the charge into the flank of the Drakons. I think they're my mistakes in the game. All ironed out now. Possibly the placement of my bolt thrower as well. I don't know what I could have done better with that. I was thinking of moving it onto the hill down here, to be honest. First turn move onto a hill and then start shooting after that, because they'd have the height advantage at least. But because he's got stealthy, they really don't do anything. But maybe they could have done something against those shield bearers, siege breakers. And there's a few bits of text popping up there just to remind me what's going on. And spelling mistakes as well. Fantastic, Mark. So he's still on temporary bases because we're new to the game. So we can sort of move the units around onto different size bases. I'm a bit more committed now. I can see pros and cons, definitely. Like this, all these arrows into that blooming aura of stealth. Because I can't hit anything else because it's got stealth here. I might as well take out the source of the stealth. Well, I think we batter it, though. I don't see him move that dice, which worries me. I'm sure I battered it a bit. I think my text is out of sync there. Anyway. Do you still want to see more text? Do I still want to try and name the units down the side? I thought that was quite kind of cool, but it does take up a lot of the screen. I wish I could widen it. Maybe I can widen it. Interesting. So Shield Breaker thinks it can now flank my Palace Guard. Oh, is it allowed to pivot, I guess, through the archers? So I thought the archers were doing a good enough job. But I think if he shuffled them, then I would have had it. Would have blocked it. And yeah, that charge into my flank of my Drakons, I think that was a losing point. If those Drakons had held on, they did fight back at one point, but their +1 nerve, is that for the leader or the warlord? I'm not too sure where he's getting that rule from. Is it an ogre thing? Very annoying. You just sort of like held off from either being wavered or taken off. It was like, ugh. Now, I do apologise. We are going to miss turn 5 and 6. It does get cut off. I do not know why. I think there might be a limit. I should have started again with the last few turns. So Argus Ragnar, I like his reroll ability, and I like that he's giving inspiration. Even though I've got 3 sources of inspiration, I didn't really utilize Argus Ragnar. He could have been behind the units and a bit closer, I think, at times. So I've got the Dragon Lord, I've got Argus Ragnar, who can then cast his inspiration out to someone else, and it's been on the Quicksilver Cavalry all this time. It probably would have been better on the Silver Breeze on the first turn, knowing that they were going to get the charge. And who else is? And the Wizard's inspiring as well with an inspiring magical item, an inspiring talisman. So my Wizard, because he's got heal, tries to stay with the troops. I think he does use heal, but he sort of whiffs it. I do prefer heal with a Conjuring Staff. That gives you the reroll, because we've already got a reroll for an elite. We might as well reroll a 2 or a 3 as well. And then you get that bonus out of it. He only healed like 1 point, and then the rest of it was lightning bolting. And the lightning bolt was needed to hit that stealthy unit, I think. It did help. Right, so he's deleted my Crushing Strength Palace Guard, who only has strength defense of 4. And he's decided to turn 360 degrees to face my dragon, so he doesn't get a rear charge from the Draken. And he prefers to get a rear charge from the Silver Breeze Cavalry. And then at this point, I remember my Palace Guard Horde have the Hammer of Measured Force and would have been better up front to take on these Shield Bearers. The Siege Breakers, Shield Bearers, same thing, isn't it? They've got shields so they can break sieges. So my bolt throw has been fairly ineffective. I think I'm going to swap that out for another wizard with lightning bolts. Just not feeling the bolt thrower, to be honest. I like it for its iconicness, but it doesn't do its job well enough. It's good for enemy artillery. It has aided me, I think, which is why I kept it in this list. If I was playing, I didn't know who was going to be playing. I think it would have been goblins, dwarves, or ogres tonight. But I've not played this player before, so... And we're all new, which is great. We've got like 4 or 5 new players starting, 6 including me. Wow, that's pretty impressive, actually. A wizard's just risking being out, so he can at least give him his inspiring before he goes. Though I'm sure he'd probably target better things. And my Dracons, so my Lord has moved on to try and threaten the back of the chariots. And I do wish it was a dragon now, so I at least had breath weapon. And my other Dracons flew over the shield bearers because they don't want to be in the front of that, and took out the standard bearer. So poor standard bearer. One Draken Lord flew off, then another one comes back in. 2 more come in. These are Forest Dragon minis. All my units are Forest Dragon. I'm not too sure what his ogres are, whether they're 3D printed. I think they are 3D printed. I don't know which manufacturer, I'm afraid. And that's it. We missed the final turns. So here's some photos of the setup. And I'll probably do a few more carousel. This was the right flank with the Berserkers on the very first turn. You can see the Rabbles, the Boomers, and the other Horde. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Let's go to FaceTime again. Hello there, welcome back. So what did you think of that game? Did you like the slowed down, speeded up format? Does it need more text and all the units like I did on the first video down the side? I do not know. Or is it good enough to having the list at the start? Were they visible, and did you know what they were? I didn't know what the ogres were. I find that in Infinity and other games as well. It's like, oh, what is that guy? From across the table, especially with Space Marines and with guns, because all their guns look the same, to be honest. Fantasy, it's a bit better, but because nothing was on chariots here, I didn't know which one was which. But I mean, they were all riding big beasts, and that's the beauty of Kings of War. That's a thing can be another thing, as long as it sort of makes sense. So they're all riding big beasts, so they've all got thunderous charge, so that made sense. His boomers had big cannons in the hands, that made sense. I don't think there's anything that caught me out, but everything looked a little bit similar. I mean, the Berserkers look different. I don't know, why did I make that comment? I didn't need that comment in there. So yeah, I made some technical mistakes, some tactical mistakes. I'm still learning that positioning and finding it hard to get flanks with my flyers. I literally just want to spend 2 turns. I'm going to go behind you next turn and then work on it next turn. I don't mind them not being in action in the first few turns. Maybe that's going to be the next game. Bolt thrower, I felt ineffective, but then again, it was versus someone with stealthy. I really do want to work on a Night Stalker army, to be honest. And now seeing stealthy in action, I'm feeling very keen on that. And I want that to be my first 3D printed army. So I'm going to have to sculpt it myself, because there aren't any Night Stalkers in 10mm out there. Unless I went for Ghostly Undead and things like that to make amends. I might have to substitute units. But this battle, great game. A few mistakes. There was one where he charged me, and I don't think his leader point was inside the forest. So technically, I don't think he would have been able to see me to charge. And there's one which I think I will allow where he flanked me. But another big one was his first Berserker charge, he used Thunderous Charge. And I think that could have swung it a little bit, because his Berserkers did come in and take out my Sea Guard. So one, if I could have kept in the Silver Breeze past the castle to the north, and kept my Sea Guard past the castle to the north, which both got eaten by Berserkers, could that change it? one thing on his side, he forgot he had the Hand of Sagwani or something like that, which gives him life leech on one of his chariots. So yeah, so he forgot things and added things, and there's one dodgy charge in there, but it's learning. We're both learning. It was a great game. I'm still happy that I watched it and I can rewatch it to learn the game again. That's my intention with these videos, I guess. Just something a bit different and quick. So, do you spot anything in there? How do you play your elves? That brute strength, it's great on the Quicksilver, but I think if I slung that on the regiment of Palace Guard, it could be equally good there. Will the Quicksilver be good enough without it? What do you think? They're my only thoughts. That's what I'm going to take away from this game. I've been a bit ill, so I'm looking a little bit pale and pasty. Hopefully get more games in. March is coming up quickly for the tournaments, and only a few more. Yeah, I really got to experience more armies out there. I really want to get another army for myself onto the table, but I also want to just keep learning the elves and experimenting. One thing our little group is deciding is that lots of small units is better than the elite units. I'm not too sure, but I have made a 19 unit elf list, basically using very much core units and then just literally